All right, hello. So, I didn't, I didn't put a video up this morning. Almost thought I wasn't gonna do it, though I did. I don't know. I'm still cringing about how long I took to set up to set up videos again from the last time 3 weeks ago, and I just stopped. Now I watched my last video, and I noticed how obnoxious it is when I was constantly changing arms because of the tripod. So this time I'm going to practice just holding the damn tripod still, so that way hopefully it's not quite as horrible whenever I'm going back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. I am sure that I'll get to a point where eventually like those fancy little edits where like it zooms in and it zooms out and you have a slightly different angle and all that kind of fun stuff, but that ain't happening. That's not what I've got to work with. So what I wanted to do in this video, actually, I was thinking of what to talk about, and my assistant had a really great idea to talk about my daily routine, talk about what is it that I'm doing now, because yeah, for the longest time I had no routine, no process, no structure. I would basically wake up in the morning whenever I woke up, and I would just grind as hard as I could. I didn't really have much of a plan, wasn't very organized, would literally just like a bull just dive and just run and chase after whatever thing it was I was going after. So what I did this year, as of course in the last video I alluded to, I've been making a lot of changes, really thinking back about my past and looking back at how things have been and what's, who do I want to be and where do I want to be in my life as I proceed forward. I'm 27 years old right now, and I really feel like the 20s is the time to make mistakes, it's the time to fuck up, it's the time to try things that are crazy and do things that maybe aren't quite so sustainable. At the same point though, I'm nearing the end of my 20s. It's getting to the point where I should probably get my shit together. And when I look at people who have their shit together, who are getting fantastic results in their business, they're doing cool things around the world. I think I'm getting nervous, so my voice is getting scratchy. Anyways, the people that I look up to, they always have a routine. They do something similar each day, each week. They have a process. I know even my mentor Travis, it was amazing whenever I was able to learn from him. A few times let me stay over at his place just because where I lived was 2 hours away from the office, and so if we were doing super late nights or something at work, then he was nice enough to let me stay with him. And it was fascinating. It was such a great experience to see the way that he has his routine from waking up to going to bed, and the way that he does that each and every day. And these disciplines really show in how he's disciplined in pretty much every area of his life. So thinking about that kind of role model, thinking about that kind of process, I decided this year I wanted to have some routine as well. So it's a bit challenging because at the moment I work for a British advertising agency, and most of my clients are in the United States, while I am in the Philippines. So super duper crazy time zone situation where I am 12 hours away from East Coast, 15 hours away from West Coast, and 7 hours away from London. So it makes it to where I've got to work some strange hours. And so what I started to do was I spent, probably months, 2-3 months where I was just constantly changing my schedule. I'd try waking up super duper early, I'd try sleeping in, and it just didn't really work. Sleeping in would be ideal because I could just sleep until go to bed at 4 a.m., wake up at noon, and then start my day and be able to work throughout the night, and that would let me work in these hours no problem. Challenge is that, as I think I alluded to in a different video, or maybe that was a video that didn't record. Anyways, it's hot out here. It's really warm and it's really bright, and my apartment is not really set up for a work all night, sleep all day kind of environment because it's so bright. It's brilliant, it's beautiful. At the same time though, I haven't been able to update it, and while I'd love to go out and go shop and find some solutions, we've been on lockdown for like 115 days, so none of the stores are open, I can't buy anything. So what I did was I just kept on trying different things and seeing how much can I push myself to stay awake, how many hours of sleep do I really need, and how productive can I be day by day. And it's been a struggle. It's been something that ever since, I guess, February, I've been trying, every 2 weeks, every 3 weeks, trying a different schedule. And the only thing that's really stayed consistent is that I've been exercising, I'd say about 3 times a week on average, ever since the end of March, beginning of April. Outside of that, I've worked different hours for my job. I will spend different hours sleeping. I'll spend different hours practicing speaking Russian. I'll been all over the place. And lately, these last 2 weeks or so, okay, I'm doing a more smooth transition. I definitely realized I need to develop better arm strength to hold this camera. Anyways, so it's something that, what I've been doing now is normally I will wake up right around, depending on how late I was up the night before, either 6:30 or potentially around 7:30. If it's a super late night, like last night for example, I went to bed around 5:30, 6 a.m. So I woke up at 9:30. Though normally I'll wake up around 5:30, 6:30 a.m., 7:30 on the later range. From there, I will practice Russian for about an hour to 2 hours or so. Now, at the stage I'm at in Russian at the moment, I don't know very many words, and it's challenging for me to learn words. So what I've been doing is spending a lot of my time practicing pronunciation. So that way I can actually say the words and hear them and understand them, ideally, so that way then I can learn the language faster. So it's been a slow process. I've been practicing Russian every single day for about 8-9 months now. Last year, I did try to learn Russian, though it was a miserable failure. I learned maybe like 20 different words in Russian. I mispronounced all of them, and I couldn't say hardly any of them in context except for hello and may I have another beer. At the same time, it was something that I decided this was really important for me. So I knew that in my routine, I had to have consistent training in Russian. And so, starting New Year's, of course, new year, new me kind of bullshit, I decided this year I'm practicing Russian every single day. Because the year before that, I tried to practice Russian, and I was kind of consistent, but not really. So I practiced Russian for like 2 weeks, and then fuck off for a week. And then I practiced for a month, doing like 5 minutes a day, the Duolingo model, and then I not practiced Russian at all for 2 months. And so unfortunately, everything I tried to learn in Russian just disappeared. It didn't go anywhere. It didn't stick in my brain. And so even though I've spent, almost a year living in Russian-speaking cities over the last couple of years, I spoke almost no Russian until coming to the Philippines, funny enough. So either way, I practiced Russian for about an hour to 2 hours, and then from there I normally spend some time watching YouTube videos. Normally the kind of videos I'm watching are educational. I'm learning about technology, I'm learning about politics, science, sometimes digital advertising. Typically though, it's going to be more pleasure education, things that are interesting for me. Pleasurable might be learning about global events, learning about economics and finance, learning about some cool, a biography of someone that I think is interesting. Stuff like that is what I really enjoy to watch. I might spend about an hour or so doing that. From there, on good days, it's about 3 days a week that I exercise, so I wish I could say it's every day, though I do strive to be able to work out every single day. I'll exercise for anywhere from 1 to 2.5 hours. So this will typically go from, I'd say 9-ish, maybe 10-ish a.m., and I'll exercise until about 11 to noon. Because I do work later at night, I use it as an opportunity to take a nap afterwards. Previously, I would exercise in the evening or I'd exercise first thing in the morning, but the challenge was that with needing to stay awake until 1 o'clock, midnight, whatever it might be working, and with how bright and how hot it gets here during the day, I needed to get a rest in the middle of the day. But I couldn't sleep in. My body, it just doesn't work so good when it comes to sleeping in, no matter how exhausted I might be. Like last night, I went to bed at 6:30 in the morning, woke up at 9:30. It doesn't matter how late I'm up till. My body just does not let me sleep in very often unless it's like perfect, optimal, relaxed conditions, and even then it's not very late. So what I do is I exercise until 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. at noon, and after my exercise I eat a very big breakfast, and then I pass out. And I do my best to sleep for about an hour to an hour and a half. From there, that'll typically lead me to about 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and that's where I start getting ready for work, and dive in. Normally I do my best to set it up to where I don't have actual appointments until 4 p.m. And then from there, from around 4 p.m. to midnight to 1 o'clock-ish are the average times that I'll be working. So around midnight is where I want to have, that's where I try to finish out my day. Though on some later days, sometimes there's webinars or coaching calls or some type of maybe there's a last minute event or not event appointment like a sales appointment, something I really need to be on, an interview, whatever it might be, that I need to be a part of, where especially if it's somebody in California, that means it is just the ass crack of dawn o'clock, just super horrible hours, like 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the morning, that I'll be talking with those folks. So at the same time though, that's not normal. Normally it's going to be from right around 3 o'clock to 4 o'clock in the afternoon until midnight to 1 a.m. is when I'm working. So my hours have actually gotten a lot more chill than they used to be. I do spend my time where during my workout, I make sure to listen to about 45 minutes of audio. So right now I'm listening to Sam Ovens' personal development training. It's been fantastic. It's been exciting. I can attribute a lot of my getting my shit togetherness to Sam Ovens, because he teaches about how to be more consistent, how to be more effective as a person as well as in a business environment. So that's, I guess, kind of the short version of my schedule. It is still a work in progress. It's something that I strive to work even more. It's flexible, so normally I am a bit of a degenerate when it comes to work, and so typically in the morning I'll often squeeze in about an hour, maybe a little bit more of time working. I'll go in and respond to emails, or go into Slack and communicate with my team, or dive into a proposal, or something like that to get more progress at work. And at the same time, sometimes I will be a little bit less productive, and it'll be something that I can get distracted. Especially in my earlier days, I had it to where I would work maybe 12 hours in one day, and then the next day I'd be distracted for 4 hours. And so it's really only effectively 8 hours. And so to get it to where I can work really consistently has been the focus of this last period of time.